Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to completely shatter this illusion that a single corporate salary is some sort of safe, impenetrable fortress. If you're relying on just one paycheck, you probably feel like you're playing it safe. But the data we're going to look at today, it tells a completely different and, honestly, kind of terrifying story. But don't worry, we're also going to break down the exact mathematical blueprint you need to escape this trap. Let's get into it.
So let's dive right in by looking at a guy named Vikram. Vikram is 30 years old, and he was totally convinced that his 60,000 rupee a month IT salary was this absolute fortress. He felt comfortable, right? And because of that comfort, he completely ignored the tsunami heading his way. And that tsunami is the hard fact that a staggering 47% of Indian jobs are now exposed to AI automation. To him, that monthly direct deposit was a rock-solid guarantee. But as we all know, a guarantee is really only as strong as the system behind it.
And this chart right here brilliantly illustrates the trap Vikram fell into. Just look at this breakdown. Out of his 60,000 rupees, roughly 55,000 was just instantly devoured by rent, EMIs, groceries, and, weekend dinners out. He was left with his razor-thin 8% cushion, which is just 5,000 rupees, and that almost always vanished before his next payday. Like 29% of people out there, his salary wasn't actually building wealth. It was literally just a solvency bridge that evaporated in 15 days, trapping him in this really comfortable but incredibly dangerous loop. To make matters even worse, Vikram was a massive victim of a lifestyle creep. He kind of adopted this mindset of manifesting wealth, swiping his cards like the money was already in the bank. He was essentially spending the salary of an imaginary richer future self today. But here's the brutal irony of that. Living like you're already rich on borrowed money is absolutely the single most effective way to guarantee you never actually will be. When people live like this, they almost always fall into what we call debt lasagna. It's a great term. This is where you roll loans into other loans, like maybe putting a down payment on a credit card to finance a car you honestly couldn't afford to begin with. It's literally 3 layers of interest all compounding at the exact same time, just to keep up appearances. Every single dollar of debt you take on is just future income that you've already spent. Then a rainy Tuesday arrived. Citing rapid AI advancements, Vikram's department was suddenly called into this mandatory meeting. And just like those massive restructuring waves we've seen recently, where TCS cut 12,000 positions and Indian startups laid off over 6,700 employees, Vikram's role was just gone, eliminated. That comfortable monthly loop, it snapped. Walking out of that building with his laptop in hand, this really cold dread settled in. He pulled out his phone, opened his banking app, and just stared at his balance. He had exactly 14,500 rupees to his name. That whole fortress he believed in was just gone. Now, the truly terrifying truth here is that Vikram was absolutely not alone in this. A staggering 75% of Indians have absolutely zero emergency fund to rely on when disaster strikes. None. Almost half haven't even saved 10% of what a basic safety net should look like. They are entirely 100% uninsulated from any kind of economic shock. The reality of this financial jail hit Vikram with an absolute full body drop that very weekend when his father suddenly fell ill. He was actually forced to borrow money from his brother just to cover basic diagnostics. And this happens all the time in a country where 62% of hospital bills are paid entirely out of pocket and where medical emergencies push 55 million citizens below the poverty line every single year. Vikram finally realized his single salary dependency hadn't been safety at all. He had literally just traded his bargaining power for a very temporary comfort zone. This brings us to our next chapter, the man with the anchor, Kabir's strategy. Desperate for some advice and a way out of this mess, Vikram met up with a former colleague of his, Kabir. Now, Kabir had actually been laid off a year prior in that first wave of cuts, so Vikram totally expected him to be stressed out and struggling. But instead, he found Kabir calmly working from a cafe, completely insulated from the panic. Kabir explained his secret. He didn't panic because he relied on math, not magic. He had built what he called an airbag. This is a raw 6-month essential survival fund. It's locked away in a highly liquid account, like a basic savings account or a liquid mutual fund, and it is completely untouched by risky bets or fancy investments. He built this solid foundation before he ever invested a single rupee anywhere else. But here is the absolutely crucial point. Kabir didn't just stop at saving. He also built an anchor. This is a secondary recurring income stream that completely removed his dependency on one single paycheck. He figured out early on that relying on one salary is literally the riskiest bet you can make because it leaves you at the absolute mercy of a single boss and a single company's financial health. Now, Kabir didn't go out and build some fancy startup with lakhs of capital. He used the digital Tekadar or micro-agency model. He basically found a local client who needed their website managed and charged them a 15,000 rupee monthly retainer. Then he just hired a highly skilled freelancer on Fiverr for 7,000 rupees to do the heavy lifting. So Kabir spent maybe 30 minutes a day managing the freelancer and running quick quality checks, and he pocketed the 8,000 rupee margin. When his corporate job ended, this anchor easily kept the lights on while he planned out his next career move. And the beautiful thing is, this concept scales. There are 3 distinct levels to forging your own anchor, completely based on your available time and capital. Level 1 is zero investment. This is using your existing skills for freelancing or a microagency, exactly like Kabir did. Level 2 is creating digital products, things like templates or ebooks that you create once and sell repeatedly. And level 3, if you do happen to have capital, is investing in automated franchises. Think commercial laundries or vending machines, where you're essentially just buying an already established system. Which leads us to our interactive section, Rechoosing the Settings, the Flashcard Masterclass. Hearing Kabir's story, Vikram realized he didn't need to magically manifest wealth. He needed a total systemic overhaul. Personal finance is a behavioral default setting, guys. It's not a test of willpower. So let's jump into a quick interactive masterclass right now to map out your own strategy. Here's flashcard 1. Ask yourselves right now, as you're watching this, what is the exact mathematical formula you need to determine your safety net? Not a rough guess, not a gut feeling. What is the actual math? The answer is 6x. You literally must calculate your raw, bare bones, essential monthly survival expenses. So rent, groceries, utilities, the absolute basics, and multiply that exact number by 6. That right there is your airbag. So Vikram did the math and immediately set his target at 1.8 lakh. But more importantly, he automated the bravery. He set up an automatic transfer on payday directly to a separate account. The money was moved out before he could even look at it, before he could become a person with opinions and accidentally spend it on lifestyle creep. Out of sight, out of mind. Okay, moving to flashcard 2. Next, you need to identify what existing experience you can monetize without even leaving your house. Basically, what is your anchor skill? What is the one thing you already know how to do that someone else finds super difficult or tedious? Vikram looked at his own background and realized he could leverage his 6 years of database experience. So on weekends, he launched this small Zoom cohort, literally teaching data management to local business owners. He filled 8 seats at 3,000 rupees each, generating a really solid 24,000 rupees extra a month. He just monetized the skills he already had sitting right there in his head. And finally, flashcard 3. When you're building this secondary stream, what is the secret sauce? What separates average, exhausting side hustles from true, scalable financial independence? The golden rule is recurring revenue. Whether it's a micro software as a service, a commercial cleaning contract, or a monthly coaching cohort, the entire goal is to stop hunting for new daily sales. You want to build a system where the income is recurring, where customers are paying you repeatedly for ongoing value. That is the true secret of the wealthy. They do not chase one-time sales. They build systems of repeat access. Fast forward 3 months later, and Vikram successfully landed a new primary job. But this time, when he signed that contract, he was no longer a hostage. He knew that if the AI tsunami hit again, his airbag was packed and his anchor was holding firm. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to calculate for yourself right now. If your job ended tomorrow, exactly how many days would your house run?